Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh. Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash, double understood all apostles and elders, great millstone who rule well and taught me this truth. Peace, blessings, salutations, and mercies to the elect. And on third remnant out there listening and doing this word with all faith and sincerity scattered amongst the nations and the four corners of the earth. To you I say Shalom, Lord willing. This video is edifying. It's going to be sent around the topic of this devil, Lindsey Graham, and the Lord calling his spirit back to the spiritual realm. All right, and we know he is most definitely an Edomite. All right, and when you look at what he stood on, you know, he was, he hated Jake pretty much openly. He was, spewing a lot of hateful rhetoric towards the Northern Kingdom. All right, and he was one to deny the fact that this system is built upon keeping Jake a second or third class citizen, right? Keeping Jake oppressed and in constant peril, right? This devil sat back and denied it. Okay, among that, among other things, this devil was a staunch, avid supporter of war, right? He was a war hawk. He was pro small hat. And he's just an absolute demon, a devil. Okay, quite simply. All right. Blue-blooded. And the Lord took his spirit. Now, because he lived such a, he lived such a delicate life, right? Pretty much had everything one could want, right? He had money, he had influence, he had power, okay? But he was wicked, all right? That's why he was able to climb to the ranks in which he did, because, his wickedness held him up. Now, does that mean that, he won't be judged, right? And the answer is no, because reincarnation is a thing, okay? Reincarnation is biblical, all right? And although it may seem as if he escaped judgment, he actually did not, all right? Because when he is born, he is going to be born a slave in the most brutal form of slavery to ever exist in history and will ever exist in history, that will lead to the extermination of all his kind, right? So he didn't really escape anything, okay? He's supposed to do the things in which he's done, okay? Because this is his kingdom, and this, he's using the blessing that the Lord gave him, okay? The fatness of the earth, and, he's going to do his wicked and evil deeds, but he's not going to be spared. Look at this devil, man. Ugly, right? Nasty. I'm pretty sure he was a part of those files released by Epstein, right? Pretty sure his name was in there somewhere, or maybe a different island, right? Maybe he wasn't juiced in with Epstein, but he was juiced in with Epstein, nonetheless, right? So, the Lord said he's not going to go to no place in the center of the earth with an Edomite in a red spandex suit, and a trident, poking him while he burning in fire. Like, no, It's not how it works. It's not going to happen. Okay, neither did he go to, a place beyond the clouds, where there's a gate and an Edomite angel, right? That's not what's happening. Okay, right now he's awaiting to be born again in this world, right? In the future to be a slave and serve out his judgment, right? Let me see. This is Ecclesiastes 3:16. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. Right. So this is Solomon. He's talking about, pretty much the place of judgment is what sits under the sun. And what sits under the sun? The earth. Okay. So the place of judgment is here on earth. Okay. And you have to come here. This is where you serve out your judgment here on earth. That's why you see people die in incredible ways. Okay. You see all types of wild, spectacular things, and you just be like, wow, that's crazy. Incredible. 2 7.4 earthquakes in the same area. You're like, wow, that's unheard of. Okay, that almost has to be divine, like biblical, right? Because that's judgment, right? And this devil, Lindsey Graham, did not escape by any means. Okay, and he could have been assassinated for all we know, right? Just a heart attack, that sudden, massive heart attack, take him out. He didn't have no kids, no woman, probably homosexual. We know how Esau get down, right? So his whole line is cut off. But guess what? Does that mean he escapes judgment? No. Lord's going to bring back his spirit anyway. Okay? And he's going to serve. He is definitely going to be in hardcore bondage. Okay? And he's going to have a full life to live, however long a full Edomite life is in the kingdom of heaven, of straight hell. Okay, beyond imagine. Eyes have not seen, neither have ears heard the brutality in which is coming to, Esau. Okay. This is Ezekiel 35 and 5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by force of the sword in the time of the calamity and the time that their iniquity had an end. It's like the baseline of these Edomite devils is to, wrong Jake. Okay. That's why it's no shocker you look into his policy. He's just fucking, straight up Edomite, a bigot, a denier of reality, he can't deny it. Now he's up there with the Heavenly Father. He knows the truth now. And he knows that he's going to have to come back and live out that judgment. Okay? Man is guilty of a lot of blood, man, a lot of corruption. Okay? Steady advocating for genocides. Okay, actively. All right? A disturber of peace. He's a war hawk. All he could ever talk about is, war. Okay, taking spoil. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh Shema Shah, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. And this is for all Edomites, right? All of you. You're going to have to, you know, oh, we're not all Edomite. Well, all Edomites are going to, feel the wrath of Yahweh Shema Shah. All right? And this devil, Lindsey Graham, he loved the blood, loved the war, loved taking spoil. Well, these things will happen to him. He will constantly, since thou hast not hated blood, blood shall pursue thee. Right? He's going to live his life in doubt. Okay? The one that's coming, that is. Because he's going to, experience things in which has never been experienced. He think what we went through, was bad, right? Bad enough to deny it, pretend like it didn't even happen, or nothing even is nothing from then is contributing to anything now, right? Well, wait till he sees what the fuck is going on with, when it's his go around, right? Wait until you see what we do to him, okay, and the things we say. But ours is going to be in righteousness. We ain't going to have to deny nothing, okay? This is Ecclesiastes 11 and 12. Though a sinner do evil 100 times and prolong his days, and his days be, so like it. Though a sinner do evil 100 times, and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear the Most High, which fear before him. Right? So, we don't look at the lives these Edomite lives and think that the Lord is with them, or think that their end is going to be, plenteous, right? Their end is going to be good. We know that they have, at the end of the day, what's coming towards them. So we're not affected by what we see them do and the lives they live, and how even though they might die on this side, it may seem like they got away. We're not, because we understand the truth. Okay? Same, vice versa. When brothers pass away, we understand the truth. Okay? We know that they up there with Yahweh Shai, and Lord willing, they part of that number. Just like we know he up there with the Heavenly Father, and he's going to come back and be, property of some Israelite. Right? But it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he feareth not before the Most High. Right? So it's not going to be well with him. And we're aware of that. We know that. We don't doubt that. Okay? This is Ecclesiastes 12 and 14. For the Most High shall bring every work into judgment, and every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil, right? So the Lord sees all, and he's not going to let anything go. Okay? No matter, what people think or say contrary to popular belief, the Lord is going to hold you accountable. Okay? You will be held accountable, and you will have to pay. All right? Especially you, Edomite. It's not even debatable. Okay? All the wickedness in which you've done, the Lord is against you himself. You think he's going to let you slide? No. This Nahum 1 and 3, Yahweh Shema Shai is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. Yahweh Shema Shai hath his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet, right? So he will not at all acquit the wicked. They have no chance of, there's no chance of getting away with this. Nigga lived to be 71 years old, okay, and died, right? Technically lived a full life, right? But guess what? That means nothing. That don't mean he lived a good life, right? That don't mean he has nothing to pay for. This is Proverbs 11:21. Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered, right? So the wicked shall not be unpunished, man. So niggas like Stephen Hawking, could go all the way back. Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, okay, all these, Andrew Jackson, all these wicked, evil Edomites, Christopher Columbus, that's responsible for so much death and evil and, you know, blood on their hands, man, soaking. They're not getting off with that. The Lord remembers, and he's gonna, put all those things, into consideration when he judges them. Okay. So when they're born in the kingdom of heaven, and, of course, they're not going to be in the kingdom of heaven, but the kingdom of heaven will be established, and they will, it's going to be built off the back of these Edomites. Right. And we're going to remember this, and we're not going to, the thought won't be, oh, does he deserve? No, we're going to all understand, well, all know, okay, that he had it coming. All right. So with that, give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bashim, Hashab, Bashim, Bakakudash, Wa, Baba, and DTA, DTN.